Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. And this is the weekly forecast. I'm giving you the keys to having a successful week. It's freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. There's my contact information. And this is copyrighted, standard YouTube licensing. And today's been a fun day of technical difficulties. All right, keys to the reading, because I do read a little bit differently. I read what's called constellational astrology or true sidereal. It's astrology by the visible sky, which is how the ancients read astrology before Ptolemy fixed the signs to seasons. So not only do the planets move, but the constellations also move, albeit very slowly, but they do move. I use the natural size of the constellations. There are astrologers who fix each sign to being 30 degrees, whereas Virgo in the sky is 48, almost 49 degrees, and Scorpio barely hits 25. So they're all over the place. I use what are called the astrological midpoints. This was developed by Athan Shemanti of Mastering the Zodiac. Because the IAU boundaries, when they were drawn, are kind of arbitrary. And so he looked to see, you had, constellation A, last star in the zodiac belt, constellation B, or it's called the ecliptic actually, constellation B had its first star, and figured out what the midpoint was, went with it. And it seems to work better. In ancient times, in Babylonian era and afterwards as well, there was a 13th sign called Fucus. It was the sign of the wounded healer. The symbol is of a man holding a snake by the head and the tail, which snake in ancient times symbolized knowledge. So here's a person who had controlled knowledge. And ideally, they were using it to heal themselves so they could heal others. And what I will be sharing with you are the weekly transits. These are the universal lessons that everyone will be facing. So please have compassion on your fellow travelers. And I interpret using evolutionary astrology, which says that these are lessons to learn, that you can learn them, you can master them in a sense. All my dates are based on the Eastern US time zone because that's where I live. And I'm using an orb, or what determines what I read. I'm using 1 degree of them being exact. I could go much wider. However, this would get very long and I could feel confused. And if I'm feeling confused, you're lost. So I'm using 1 degree of exact to simplify things a little bit. And that's common practice. This is the weekly transit report for August 26th through September 1st, 2024. Looks like I have an extra space there. Life happens. Moon is going to be very nice and steady this week. Taurus through Leo. So it's only a Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and then Leo. So it's very few signs, relatively steady. We have a nice balance between active Gemini and Leo and the passive Taurus and Cancer. That's very good. We begin the week. Also, we have the last quarter in Taurus to start the week. So our biggest challenge emotionally starts on Monday, and then we're all good. Active this week, Dr. Danny, be proud, is Venus, is our big player of the week. Relationships and different styles of, or different types of relationships, I should say. We also have Mercury and Mars picking up some slack, or picking up the end. They're all making aspects to outer planets. Uranus, however you want to pronounce it, which is your individuality. Neptune, spirituality. Pluto, healing and transformation. Chiron, wounding and healing. We're still dealing with the Neptune sextile Pluto power transit, and that's going to be going for a long time. And I have an extra comment in there. Oh, this is my life. Retrograde. Mercury retrograde ends this week. Yay. Saturn is still retrograde, and Uranus decides to pick up the slack and join in. Oh boy. Saturn is about maturity. Uranus is your individuality. So this is going to be a period of time where you're reflecting on who you are as an individual, and as an authentic individual. Are you really being you? More coming up on that. Neptune, your spirituality. Pluto, it's just transformation and change. And Chiron is also retrograde, reflecting on your healing. Let me pull this down. There we go. This is the overview of the week. So we have the dates of the week above. The moon Monday to actually the moon started with Sunday, but Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday the moon enters Gemini. It's their Thursday, a portion of Friday, Friday and Saturday. I believe Friday and Saturday, but no, definitely Friday and good chunk of Saturday. Well, I'll get to it when I check it. It's in something doesn't look right here. I'll go with it. Uh, Friday and Saturday, it will be in Cancer, and Sunday it goes into Leo. And as you can see, the transits here are spaced out. There is a cluster Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we do get a Monday through Thursday, Friday-ish cluster, and then Saturday and Sunday we get another cluster. So we do have different groupings here, which does make them a little bit more manageable. Like I said, third quarter moon on Monday. That's what's throwing me off. My graph here is with a different set of aspects. That's what's throwing me off. There we go. So let us begin. In my tablet with my notes. And this is a very long transit that's just going to be going on. I really should update this picture. But we have Neptune in Pisces, which is reflecting on your spirituality and your being present. Are you? And that is affecting, as that is in a sextile or an interest to Pluto, transformation. And in Sagittarius, Pluto is now in Sagittarius. So it's looking at belief systems. So Pluto is transforming your belief systems. So the question here is how are your spiritual practices affecting your belief systems, transforming them and changing them? So be prepared to face deep and honest questions about your beliefs. Time to meditate them, practice some self-forgiveness, make changes if needed. Pluto can be about transformation. Another synonym for transformation is change. So if your belief systems need changing, good time to do it. Be careful that about your perceptions of your growth and development. It is possible to see yourself differently than what's happening. I'll be kind there. Avoid turning your beliefs into a religion. When people refuse to change their beliefs, they can codify them into a quote unquote religion, rules that everyone should follow. And it does make life more challenging for you if you do that. It is also possible to inflict deep spiritual wounds on yourself during this time because spirit could be saying one thing, you want to believe another, and those two go head to head, can be a problem. Different forecasts have this going through December-ish. So, and from Thursday, this will be ending on Monday. Mars in Taurus is sextile to Chiron in Pisces. Mars in Taurus, Mars is having courage and strength, and Taurus is about finding strength and stability, being at peace. So are you finding how are you finding your strength, stability? And with Chiron in Pisces, Chiron is about healing, and in Pisces, it's about transcending the wound, seeing it from a different perspective, even releasing it. So this is a time, it's a sextile, which is an excitement or an interest. So the question here for you to be thinking about is how is healing and releasing these wounds helping you to build strength and stability in your life? So how are you finding strength? Yeah, okay, there's that. Pay attention to old wounds as they can appear in new ways. It can be an opportunity for new healing, and reflection can help you heal. Be careful. Mars can fall into fear, and that can come out as cowardice or anger, which makes it possible for you to wound yourself more deeply and also others. So reflect on how you may have acted out your wounds and letting them define you, or are using them to play the victim. It can be very unhealthy. So be careful of that, as messing up this transit can lead to deeper wounding of yourself. And there we go. That ends on Monday. It started back on Thursday. Sunday, we had the moon entering Taurus. So the moon, your emotions, your soul entering Taurus, just wanting to chill out, man. Like Ferdinand the Bull. If you haven't read Ferdinand the Bull, you really want to understand Taurus. I always tell you people to go to the library, get into the children's section, and ask for the story of Ferdinand the Bull. And he just wants to do his work and then chill out afterwards, and smell the roses, chew his cud. We're humans. We can chew. We can have snacks, healthy snacks at that too, please. Uh, but look for new ways to calm down and settle down. Release what's no longer working for you and find new ways of doing that. Find time for peace and quiet if you can. Know that you do need that recharge time. And since this is the waning moon, this is about releasing things. If something's not working for you anymore, let it go. It's okay. And be open to finding something new because there's always another way. Be careful about becoming stubborn or lazy. This can become a problem. This can become a challenge, and this can get you caught in a rut. And one of the few things I do still use as a quip from when I was in fundamentalist Christianity. There was a minister who said, "A rut is nothing but a grave with the two short ends dug out long." So it's kind of be careful of that. Be careful of getting yourself caught in a rut and forcing you to do something because it can actually cause damage. Okay, so now we begin the new transits. And on Monday, this is a Monday, Tuesday, Venus in Virgo is trining Uranus in Taurus. So Venus is about relationships. Uranus is about you being authentic. So the key thing here, and trine is an easy energy. This is about you being authentic. Now, Venus in Virgo is about you doing self-improvement in your relationships. Uranus in Taurus, finding peace, being authentic. So how can you in your relationships become better? Being authentic in your relationships help you find peace and stability. So learning new ways to being authentic and real can help you find peace and stability in your relationships. I'm liking that and going with that. And you're doing that and you're learning that, allow others that same benefit. So people are probably going to be doing new things. Things are a little bit different. Give it a chance and give people a chance to change because this can be about a time of change. Be careful because Virgo can become perfectionist and you can hold yourself to unrealistic standards. And I told people, I was doing astrology readings today at a fair at the Earth Spirit Expo, and I was, our fellow people of strong Virgo, we have met the enemy and he is us. Look in the mirror. Anytime, if you have strong Virgo, look in the mirror. You can be your own worst enemy. You can literally tear yourself to pieces in self-criticism. And how can you tearing yourself down in your relationships isn't going to be being peace and stability. It's not you being authentic. It's you destroying your authenticity. So be careful of that because that can happen really fast in a trine. Let's see, what else do I have? Also being stagnant and falling stagnant in routines, forcing yourself and others through it can lead to boredom and people responding to you in negative ways. Didn't finish out that sentence on the blog, but it can drive people away and turn people off. So be very careful about that. And Monday, we do have the third quarter of the moon, quarter moon. This is a square, so it is a challenge. And with the moon in Taurus, remember I said it's about releasing what doesn't, or let me go back to my notes here, releasing things that are no longer calming for you. And so the sun, and the challenge here, this is the sun, you want to be seen, and emotionally, you want to take a break. So the challenge here, and this can strengthen you, think about being an actor in a play or an actor or an actress in a movie. They're not necessarily in every single scene and not always playing the lead. Sometimes in a scene, they can be playing the support. So it's knowing when. And I think the challenge here is knowing when to stand up and be seen and when to stand back and take a break and get off stage. And that can be challenging. So that, I think, is the challenge here. Be careful of being stubborn and playing a drama king or a drama queen and being very stubborn about always being seen or something like that, or always wanting to take a break. There are times that you need to step up, times you need to step down. Know when that is. And I think that's key to navigating this. What else? Fighting, let's see. Yeah, that's good. I nailed it. Like I said, squares are about challenges. And if you look at the pyramids, I'll say this 10,000 times, but it's a lesson we need to learn. Everybody thinks the pyramids are strong because they're triangles. And yeah, that is a symbol. Triangles are very strong, but when you get up, you'll see the pyramids are built on 90-degree squares, 90-degree angles, and that tension there is what gives them their strength. If that tension breaks somehow, everything comes down. So there we go. Tuesday, Mercury goes station direct. So for Tuesday, 27, 2020. So for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you might feel stuck a little bit in a fog because Mercury's go is slowing down, coming to a stop, and then starting to move forward. So you may feel mentally in a fog. That's okay. Take a little extra time to listen, think before you speak. It'll be the best way of navigating this, best way of handling it. So reflect on what you have learned about how you present yourself in public, what you say, how you are saying it, when to say it, how well you're listening to others. How have you improved these skills? Now you've done the reflection. Now is the time to get ready to start using them. Be careful about rehashing old stories or being a copycat in order to impress others. It can leave you without an audience or people wanting just like, okay, we know your story, we can finish it for you. In fact, we can argue, we can actually do every single character for you. So be careful of that. And also, Venus in Virgo is opposite of Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune right here is retrograde. So Venus, relationships, Neptune, being present, spirit is another way of looking at Neptune, especially Neptune and Pisces, your spiritual practices. So the question here, and this is a time of balance and reflection. So reflect on your spiritual relationships is what I'm going to say here. I think that's very important. How are you meeting? Are you taking time to meet with spirit? And look at how can you improve your spiritual relationships? What can you do? Because this is specifically Venus in Virgo is about you improving. Spirit's doing what it can and what it knows how to do. You can't, hey, give spirit suggestion. It's just not going to work. Been there, done that, got photos. So reflect on it. How are you meeting in spirit? What are your practices? Look for what inspires you and what helps you find deeper meaning. If it's not inspiring you, not helping you find deeper meaning in this relationship, maybe you need to change it. So reflect on what you're doing, what your practices are. Are they really working for you? If not, can be a good time to change and figure out what to release so that next time you start all over again, hey, this is working for me. So good time of reflection and also a time to reflect on what you've learned up to this point. Falling for an illusion or living in a fantasy or just going through the motions without any feeling can have you feeling empty and feeling hollow. It's like form without function. You're going through the motions. And if that's what you're feeling, if that's what you're feeling and that's what you're doing, again, that's like a big red flag to change. Wednesday, Venus in Virgo is trine Pluto in Sagittarius. Like I said, Venus is very big this week. And again, another message here of transformation. Because remember, I said Venus in Virgo is about you improving your relationships. Pluto in Sagittarius is about transforming your value systems. So you're reflecting on what you value and what your relationships, and you're releasing what no longer serves you. Retro trine, Venus is moving. Where's my drawing tool? There we go. Venus is moving closer to, so this is a time of release. So what are your values in relationships? What's working for you? What's not? What can you let go of? So what is Pluto changing? What values are you changing to so that you can embrace them more fully? I'm just going to erase that while I remember. So, and a trine is an easy energy to work with. A little bit of effort can go a long way. What you value in relationships, how can affect the ones you in. What would happen if they change? How can you change? How is changing your values going to change your relationships? How can it help you have better relationships as well? Being honest with yourself, being prepared to face deep truths can be helpful. Take the time, I shouldn't have spelled that again, to look deeply at how you are in your relationships. How are you in them? That's going to be very important. Be careful of staying in relationships that can wound you, not wanting to change your values, not wanting to work on change. Staying stuck in the past can be deeply wounding and deeply problematic. Uh, it, yeah, also holding people and holding yourself to impossible standards can be very bad as well. So when you're finding that happening, that's in the shadow and it's time to time to sit down and change. Wednesday, we also have the moon entering Gemini. Um, Emotionally, if it's not interesting you, let it go. Just honestly, be open to new initiatives and ideas. Emotionally, you're ready for it. It's a good time for it. Unexpected occurrences can provide insights to you, so be emotionally ready for the unexpected. Can be a good thing. Mindless chatter, not paying attention can leave you stuck in a boring place. So I would very strongly suggest that take the time to make sure you're listening to other people today. On these days, on Wednesday, well, it's in Gemini. Wednesday, Thursday, I think into Friday as well as what it was. But in Moon in Gemini, things can pick up. Be ready for it. Thursday, take a breath. Not going to say who sent me the email, but thank you for it. I laughed with you. Remember to exhale. We have no major transits starting. Things are ending and releasing, so that is good. So do take a moment to just be present. And on Friday, TGIF, the moon enters Cancer. And also in the United States, it's Labor Day weekend, a long weekend for us. It's a time for emotional self-care. I think that's the best way of saying it. Take time to care for yourself and your loved ones. Release parts you left that are tiring and no longer nurturing to you. Be open to healing others of approach. Be open especially to healing yourself. And while we are in Cancer and Moon is in Cancer, do take time to take care of yourself. Whining, complaining, and playing the victim or trying to hide away can alienate yourself and others, especially the others part. And as my one friend says, if you're going to whine, you better bring cheese and make sure it's a good vintage. That is a joke. So if you don't drink, forget about it. Saturday. Ugh. Mercury is out of retrograde, so Uranus is going, my turn. All due respect to Robin Williams for that. Retrograde means it's going to feel like it's standing still before it moves backwards. So you're an individual. You may feel stuck in the mud here with your individuality. So this is going to be a time of moving into reflection about your authenticity and individuality. Are you being an authentic individual? Are you being who you are? And this is in Taurus. How is that? Are you being your authentic self? How is this strengthening you? So reflect on your real self that can provide peace and stability in your life, also strength. Are you finding peace and letting go of mindless rebellion and conformity that can help you? What can you do to build and strengthen your own individuality? So while Uranus is working through this, it's a time for you to reflect on who you are as an authentic individual. And in Taurus, Taurus the bull, finding, I always like to say Ferdinand the bull, finding that peace, finding that strength, and strengthening yourself through being an authentic individual. Remaining as you are can be destabilizing and boring, very much to you. So Uranus can be eccentric, acting up and acting out to be seen, and it can also be the total sellout and conformist trying to fit in, being a square peg in a round hole. Let me tell you from experience, doesn't work. So that's not going to help you at all. Saturday, Mercury in trine to Chiron. And this just happened, but now it's moving forward. The moon is probably going to be conjunct during this. So this is also you communicating your feelings a little bit as well. But how are you communicating? Look at how you're communicating about your, please don't jump on the computer, Kit. Thank you. The cat, Kit the cat, the one cat that actually does listen to me once in a while. All the others, well, Toes does too. But that was your kitten intro. That was your kitten commercial. Yeah, she's gone, so I can't show. She's all white with blue eyes. She's really, really nice. But Mercury is about learning, communication, and Leo is looking to express it. But we're in a trine, and so this is about Chiron is about healing. And in Pisces, it's about transcending the wounds and releasing them. So take the time here. These are, I'm going to say, baby steps about communicating about how you're healing, how you've changed, how you're releasing things. Do take a little time to reflect on that. Like I said, do take those baby steps. How are you releasing the wounds that help you back in communication and learning? Possible to face situations that will bring these to light. Reflect on those situations can help you with the releasing and healing. Okay. The shadow here in Mercury in Leo can be endlessly talking and wanting to be on stage center. Made that mistake a number of times today. Chiron in Pisces, Chiron can just fall into fantasy. There is no wound. I'm already healed, and having the wound just getting worse. So be careful about that, because it is possible to wound yourself more deeply with words and wound people more deeply with words. So be careful about rehashing and reliving the past, and keeping it alive as a fantasy, or living in denial. It can also be damaging as well. Be careful of that. Okay, I have Saturday, the moon entering Leo. I think on my big chart I had it on Sunday. It was actually Saturday. My bad. Saturday, the moon enters Leo. Let go, and my notes here say, because we're approaching the new moon, which will be happening, I think, next week, Monday-ish. So yes, we are approaching the new moon. So release. This will be the final days of release. So release the fear of being seen and be prepared to stand up and really be careful and being able to share what you're feeling. This is an important lesson. Be prepared to stand up and speak out as needed, appropriately. Let go of self-consciousness and step into spotlight when it's appropriate. So knowing what to share and when. Release the fear of sharing how you're feeling. Be very good. Playing to the crowd, trying to hide can leave you feeling worn out. Also, just wearing your heart on your sleeve. Oh my God, just wearing your emotions and pouring them out completely for everybody up on the stage really and can really turn people off. So be careful of that. You're doing that, you're doing it the wrong thing, the wrong way. And the key thing here is knowing your audience. Who is my audience and what can I say to them properly? And on Sunday, Mars and Taurus squaring Neptune. So Mars, I like to say, Mars is getting ready to go into Gemini soon, too. Cool. So Mars is about having courage and assertiveness. Neptune is about your spirituality. So this is a challenge. Ideally, this is about building strength and having the strength to build, to work with your spirituality, to strengthen yourself, to find what? Peace. I mean, Neptune is about being present in the, Neptune and Pisces. How are you being present, and how is that strengthening you to find peace in the present moment? There's always, and the example I'm going to give here is, there's that person calm under pressure. I think that's the best thing here, is that person who in the middle of the crisis knows what to do, how to do it, and they can be strong, calm, and peaceful and bring in the chaotic situation, bring calm. That's, I think, the best lesson here. And remember, squares are building, I call them the stepping stones to strength, because if you work through this properly, it strengthens you. And let's see, what do I have here? How are you finding strength and peace through spiritual practices? So how are your spiritual practices strengthening you and bringing you peace? Are they? If not, good opportunity for you to look into something else and say, hey, you know what? This really isn't working. What can I change? How can I practice it? Your other cat commercial brought to you by Toes. um, how can I how can I work with my spiritual practices so they do bring me strength and stability? So do look at your spiritual practices as a cornerstone of your peace. So how can you do that? And I'm not saying religion. Religion are the rules of man. I'm talking about your spirituality. It's you and your relationship with the divine one-on-one. Mercury, or not Mercury, I'm sorry, Mars can be about fear. Neptune, total space case. So you can fall into these delusions of fear and see enemies and problems behind every corner. Or it can be acting out or being angry at spirit as well. So all the different ways. So falling into excess and extremism can be dangerous. Also defending fantasy can be a problem. So there's just a lot of ways I could go with this. I've got so many scribbles in my notebook, and it's knowing what to say and how to say it. But I think, ideally, your spirituality, you're reflecting, you're using your spiritual practices to help you find strength. Uh, Barring that, your spiritual practices are not giving you a strong foundation, and you're watching your world fall apart around you, and that can be very destabilizing and crushing. So do look at that and look at those practices as a foundation. And we're still working on the special event where I'm teaching a course with the nodes of the moon. I'm still not happy with the recordings of my 3 interpretations. I just feel like I'm missing something with them. But we're going to have our final big get together on, I believe it's Wednesday the 4th at nighttime. So still have a chance to jump in. Follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. All of these, you punch in all your data. They're making billions and sharing nothing. There is something called the digital soul space, which is astrology and many, many, many other modalities. Tarot, oracle cards, crystals. There's people who practice varying forms of witchcraft and Wicca and other spiritual, you name the modality, it's on there. And it's privacy focused. Your data is yours. So I encourage you to go there. Okay, I have my site reminder. I just got to do something here because I can't see the escape button to get to here. Freedom Through Astrology, giving you the keys. This is where you can go to schedule. If you want to see how your chart changes, quick 6. Your first set of key is your birth chart, past life reading, or a karmic chart. I can read that different ways. Your second set of keys are your different horoscopes, life cycle. I'm looking at the outer planets, Jupiter through Pluto, plus Chiron and the nodes. Where are they in the relationship to the natal planets? What's your astrological age telling you? And then I do horoscopes. I look at the year, a quarterly, which is 3 months, and then the monthly. I like to do that new moon to new moon. If you want to do it first day, last of the month, I can do that. It's about a 30-day period. And for the yearly, I have people saying, oh, I'd really like to do the year, but we can start the year whenever. I have a person who follows the Celtic calendar, and they told me that their new year starts on the day after Samhain, which we call Halloween. So their New Year starts on November 1st. It can start any time. I have a friend who says use their birthday as the new year. So I'm getting a little glare there. So there's that. 3 months can be any 3 months. Monthly, I told you about. And I have packages. If you buy a package, there's a 10% discount built right in. So varying degrees of what you get. The quick pick is a package. It combines your birth chart and your karmic chart. I should put that in here. But I also have I call it 4 seasons. The big picture, the 4 seasons, and then through the year, they're more deeply, they're all more deep. If you click on and jump back up here to subscribe, Gets you my newsletter once a week. If I give a discount, this is where you find it. All I need is an email. I send it once a weekly out. My mouse is being weird. I apologize. I do a blog where I post a weekly forecast. I do the daily horoscope. My last week was just very busy for me with we're finishing out my last week at the public library. Um, so I'm going to get back and do my daily deep dives, which I like to do. But this is where you find my blog, and this is where you can do scheduling. Right now, so there's this. You do order a birth chart or a karma chart. What the way I do readings is I first make a recording, and I share a recording with you. When you do schedule the one-on-one, it works so much better if you give yourself like 3 to 5 days. This gives me time to make the recording, record it. You can watch it several times. And then when we're getting together, you're asking me questions so that you gain a deeper understanding of your chart. It works so much better that way. So there you go. There's that. Let me jump back to this slideshow, current slide. So follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. Remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. Thank you very much. I hope you have the best week possible. Thank you.